This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms at 323Reid. And support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323Reid. That's 323REID. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reid Murphy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott.
Good morning, college football fans, and welcome back to Week 8 in college football. This is College Shame Day presented by the 323 Network, and I am your host, Scott Ellia, and it's 323 nights here at the 323 Network because this is a nice late-night recording, and I have the dapper man himself. Folks, if you want to see what I'm looking at right now, I mean, go pop your collar, man. Go off and pop your collar. Go to the YouTube channel 323 Reid and get a look at my co-host tonight, Reid Murphy, looking super fly. Oh,
gotta pop the hairs out a little bit.
I was about to say, you're giving us your best Burt Reynolds impression right now.
Put the taco meat out there.
Jesus. Well, speaking about Burt Reynolds, as we're recording, my Florida State Seminoles are currently playing, and we're down by 7 late in the game with 3 minutes to go. And it just looks like it's going to be one of those years, Reid. It just looks like it's going to be one of those rough roller coaster rides of a year. But hey, if anything, this so far, with the closing of week 7 last week in college football, it has been nothing but a roller coaster this year in college football. Oh boy. I don't know if you caught anything last week. I mean, between the Oregon and Ohio State game going late, the Penn State and USC game was tight all the way through. Alabama barely edged out South Carolina this week. Reid, were you able to catch any of the games this past weekend?
I missed all of the day games. I missed everything. I did, because of that overtime, I was able to catch the tail end of, was it Oregon that I watched? Yeah. I caught the tail end of Oregon, and I caught the tail end of, what was the other game that was happening at the time? I managed to see a little bit, but I was delirious all at the same time, being sick. Everything just kind of ran into itself. I thought I was watching an NFL game at some point, which I guess is compliments to the young men of those programs. But it seemed like a good day.
I mean, it was a very, very fun, exciting day to watch football. And one of the games that you missed was the College Shame Day game of the week, the Red River rivalry. We'll give you a little bit of a recap for that game. Texas overwhelming Oklahoma 34-3, marking Texas' first win in the Southeastern Conference version of this game. So who knows what the future holds for this historic rivalry. Quinn Ewers, of course, returned after a 4-week injury, throwing for 199 yards, 1 touchdown, and then rushing in for another, despite a rough start. Ewers is now 2-1 in the Red River games, also led Texas to a 49-0 shutout 2 years ago. Quintravian Weisner,
well done.
And I'm shocked that I tripped on his last name, ran for 118 yards and a touchdown. And Texas defense sacked Oklahoma's, freshman quarterback Michael Hawkins Jr. 5 times. Trying to give you my best Ed Rooney from Ferris Bueller there.
5 times.
Five times. Yes, that's right, folks. 5 times. And I felt bad for the kid. I really did. But you know what? Fuck them all, because if my team can't win, then nobody's team can win. Of course, Texas. That's just me being petty. We got the ball back though, so it's okay. We got 2.5 minutes left, marching down the field, and of course I'm missing it. But hey, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else but here with you right now, recording this show, Reid.
That sounded
You've never
truthful.
let me down.
That's true. Yeah, I'm not gonna turn it over here.
But looking forward into the coming up in the next couple weeks, Texas is now 6-0, and they face number 5 Georgia, while Oklahoma is 4-2. They host South Carolina this coming week. But no, Reid, I do have to apologize because not only did I let you down, I let the fans at home down, I let the followers on the Instagram at 323 College Shame Day down because the Wheel of Degenerate, of course, I don't want to talk about it. It was absolutely abysmal. Missing on 4 or 5 this past week.
Damn.
I don't know. You know what? I'm mixing it up a little bit. I had a slight wardrobe change. It looks like we both had the same idea tonight to do something a little bit different. Because last week, Reid, we missed. And I thought this was going to be a gimme. I took over 11.5 points for Stanford to score against Notre Dame, and they only scored 7. And they scored it in the first quarter.
Damn.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a hit. They got to score one more time, and we're good to go? No. So fuck you, Cardinals. Missed also on Georgia, minus 33.5 against Mississippi State. Kansas State, minus 3.5 against Colorado and those damn Buffalo. And then also missed on Hawaii, plus 20.5 against Boise State. I think I just tempted that one a little bit too much with Ashton Genty there in the Boise State Buffalo Broncos. But we did hit one. Reid. Iowa State minus 3.5 against West Virginia. So
okay,
give me my fanfare.
As long as we got, as long as you can get something in there, I can give you a little fanfare.
Oh, I appreciate it. And before we get into the upcoming week, Reid, I know you said you didn't get a chance to watch a lot of football last weekend, so I will let you know my team to watch, my player to watch are coming from the same institution, and that is LSU. LSU, that's right. They are now 5-1, up 5 spots, number 8 in the AP poll, 3rd in the SEC behind Texas A&M and Texas. Of course, they lost the season over to then ranked 23 USC 27-20 in Las Vegas on a neutral site. But they've won 5 straight, including a close overtime win last week at home against Ole Miss. And their schedule ahead, Reid, is rough. I mean, they got Arkansas this week, but from here on out, they're on the road against Texas A&M in Florida. They're at home against Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma as well. I mean, these teams they could go sideways very fast for Brian Kelly and that Tigers team. Do you perceive them losing more than one of those games?
I mean, I could see them losing more than one of those games. That's kind of what I'm used to with Brian Kelly, kind of things starting to fall off the rails a little bit at a certain point at the time that you need him the most. But that was the game that I watched last weekend. I remember it now. That's the overtime game that I actually watched that wasn't faded, was LSU and Ole Miss. It was very fun. It was very, very fun. And I don't know how I could forget when I absolutely adore Brian Kelly's new Southern accent. But that game, the thing I like about LSU was there was not a point towards the end of that game that I wasn't thinking, after having watched them, make their drives, complete things consistently and with precision, really. I completely kept thinking there's no way that LSU doesn't win this game. LSU is going to come out of this like everything is going their way. There is some crazy skill on that team, and I don't know, they looked like they had that level of swagger that you want to see from a contender team. And I really liked the squad. Brian Kelly seemed legitimately confident and not just fake Bayou confident that he was trying to put on. Like, yeah, he really seemed like he had it. So I like this LSU team. I could see them dropping a couple, but honestly, I could also see them going all the way through. Not to lie, I like them as a contender here.
Listen, all they got to do is be one of those outside looking in teams. They don't have to necessarily win the SEC, but if they're one of those top 8 teams kind of at the end of the season and they just get one of those bids for, I guess, what are they going to consider it? Like a wild card round, I guess. Yeah. All they got to get is just get there, and then it's a whole, like they say in all sports, once you're in the playoffs, it's a whole new season. Just start fresh slate and just keep moving forward.
That's what it is.
But in order for them to close out the rest of the season, I think a lot of it's going to rest on the shoulders of junior quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. If you look at the actual stat sheet, he looks to be easily top 5 or easily top 10, potentially top 5 quarterback in college football this season. Last week against that Ole Miss Rebels team, even though he did pass for 337, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks, Reid, one thing that he shouldn't be doing is only completing 43% of his passes. Now, that's not good.
No, that's not good. He didn't look like that last week towards the end. Like he had some legitimacy to him, and it's the first time like I really got to watch him for an extended period of time. I'd heard the name and I just like made fun of it all season. I was like, oh yeah, that's got NFL backup to third string quarterback written all over it. But I don't know, man. Dude, the kid was looking good last week, so we'll see if he can get a little more consistency with his with that completion percentage. We might have something.
Yeah, I mean, and his stats should be fairly high because a lot of those teams, like I mentioned, like they're going to have to play aggressive and get that ball down the field. I mean, on the season so far, he's passed for, his about 65% completion rating, just under 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 6 picks. So I think if he's able to clean up that game, they should be ready to roll. And like I said, Reid, I only have one kind of newsworthy story talking about, rolling out. Before we get into this week's very interesting game of the week situation, we're going to go to the West Coast real quick, and we're going to go to USC. Did you know that at USC you can pay to run out with the team? It usually costs about $15 to $2K depending on what the game is. But there was something that transpired last week that I feel like they're going to have to reevaluate as far as who they're going to allow to purchase that right, because last week against Penn State, a Penn State fan led the team out in full Penn State gear. And I want to show you the video if you haven't seen it just yet.
I'm 100% for it.
Keep in mind, Reid, Penn State won in overtime 33-30.
That's not good. That can't happen.
That has to be one of the best troll jobs, right? Like,
it has to be.
If you see one of your, it's a huge game, you're going into unfriendly territory already, you might as well try to troll while you're there. Now, do you think that you would drop $1,500 just to do that?
I don't have a college allegiance enough to do that, but I could. If it was like a pro thing, I think I'm,
go run out in AT&T Stadium with some decked out in Commander's gear.
I'm bought in enough. Yeah, I'll jump on the star. I'll jump on the star and wait for somebody to tackle me. Yeah, I'm all about it. I
know you don't. I know you don't have any college allegiance, but you do have allegiance to this country, right?
That is true, and I could. Yeah, I'll run out there with a Marine Corps flag.
Well, you know what? How about this? Because we have, for the first time ever, I think, in this season and a half of College Shame Day, the first time ever having two, folks. That's right, 2 games of the week. So let's get busy, because the first game up is Saturday at noon. East Carolina at number 23 Army. Army is favored by 15.5, but East Carolina leads this series 8-0. Reid, is Army for real? You always ask me on Ricks versus Gricks, and you always ask me on the Sunday Hangover shows if the Raiders are for real, and I always ask you, or I always answer you with a resounding no. Are they for real?
I'm gonna say that they actually are this year. They've both been really fun. Army and Navy, the Thank You for Your Service teams have been really fun this year. It's a lot of the thing about Army Navy game, and I look forward to it every year, and it always kind of like makes me sad for a variety of reasons, not only because it's signaling sort of the end of football season is nigh, but also that it's just a lot of like, it's looking like 1960s, 1950s football of like, just we're going to run it 100 times. And when we throw it, it's going to scare the hell out of you. And there's a 90% chance that we throw it over their heads by 80 yards. And now what you're seeing with especially Army, and Navy's adopted a little bit too, you're still getting a lot of that heavy run and a lot more option, but there's been a lot of wrinkles and adjustments made to it that's really working for them and making things jump out and pop a little bit more. So I do think Army is legit. I don't know if they make the playoff necessarily. I don't know if they'll have enough to make it there, but I do like the scenario and the path for them to, potentially make it, and how fun that could get towards the end of the season here.
Oh, it would just add an extra layer to the whole college football season that I think everyone would appreciate, especially a lot of the diehard college football fans out there. Before we get into the Navy game, I will give you a brief little rundown, especially for folks at home who are listening, who are just now hearing about how Army and Navy are ranked in the top 25 in college football. Army's ranked for the first time since September of 2020 and holds a nation-leading 10-game winning streak. Army's undefeated in its inaugural season in the AAC, so they're part of the American Conference with Navy. A win would boost Army's chances for a championship in the conference with 2 conference games remaining. Of course, East Carolina has lost 3 of its last 4 games and is coming off of a 55-24 loss to Charlotte, of all people, who coincidentally Navy is playing this week. A matchup that I'm actually looking at really closely, Reid, is Army's rushing attack against ECU's run defense. Army averages about 369 yards per game, led by quarterback Bryson Daly, who has scored 9 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 games.
That's crazy.
Like, you look at his rushing stats, and it's wild. And I mean, then on the other side of the ball, ECU's their run defense it's ranked like kind of in the top 75-ish. They allow about 150 yards a game, and 9 touchdowns thus far on the season. But I'm very interested to see if Bryson Daly and team and Army can kind of keep that rushing attack going. Other than him, I mean, really for Army, their running back Kanye Udo has rushed for 360 yards, 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games as well. And then over for ECU, running back Rajay Harris has led the team for almost 400 yards on 100 carries. So, I mean, this seems like to be the year of the running back in the running game, which I never thought it would be. I mean, you're hearing about, Ashton Genty and all these other running backs just feasting on these offenses or on these defenses. I don't know. Is it because the defensive schemes are starting to like pull back a little bit? They don't want to give up the deep play, so it's kind of soft up front, or do you see any reason why it's like this right now?
I can see it kind of just being from the roller coaster and waves that football in general as a sport kind of operates on, where like everything has gotten so pass heavy the last few years, or the last 10 years, honestly, in football in general, pro and college. And after a little bit of time, those defensive geniuses that we know exist within all of football, they figure this stuff out. They figure out how to hit these pass attacks really heavy. We're seeing it a lot with these 2-man safety formations, the high safety formation that is taking out the pass game just in pro football in general, but college is getting hit too. So you have to rotate. You have to get the running game started. You have to start to take a little bit of priority, I kind of figured we were going to see that with how disposable the running back position got over the last 10 years, where you're having receivers kind of fill in for that spot. Now you're starting to get back to this age where if you want an elite running back, you're getting these dudes like Ashton Genty who are just built different. Like, that's not the frame of a wide receiver. This is somebody who's going to come in and pinball and bowling ball his way through and stand at the line like Michael Myers. So I'm not too surprised by the run game starting to make a very pleasant return to the game.
Right. And I mean, not even just Ashton Denty, because I know he's getting a lot of, national hype now, and rightfully so. But I mean, you have Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. He's averaging about 8 yards a pop. AJ Turner, the Marshall running backs, averaging just over 10 yards a pop. So there's plenty of dudes within the 7 to 8 range as well. So these guys they're averaging damn near first downs. And like you said, if you're facing one of these teams that have a stout running back, you need to be a little bit more reserved as far as how to game plan around that. Of course, you don't want to give up the deep ball, but you also don't want to give up easy chunk plays like that. A couple cool little facts for you, though, Reid, before we get into the Navy and Charlotte game. Indiana, we'll bring Indiana back up because they were also at the forefront of College Shame Day for Game of the Week a couple weeks ago. Army and Indiana are the only FBS teams yet to trail in a game this season, which is insane.
That's wild.
Right? So I'm really excited to see what's going to come out of this ECU game, simply because ECU is vastly more a formidable opponent than Charlotte is for Navy. And speaking about them, it's going to be, like I said, folks, a doubleheader, because the noon you got the Army game, and then right after at 3:30 you got the Navy game. They're both playing at home. They're favored by 17 points as well. Navy is seeking their first 6-0 start since 1979. Reid, what were you doing in 1979?
I would probably say brewing.
This is their first home game as a ranked team since 2016, so I guess that's a better question. What were you doing in 2016?
Stewing.
Stewing. There we go. Hey, it's either stewing or brewing. Navy also eyes that first conference title in the ACC, but of course they have an upcoming matchup with Notre Dame, as is Army later on this season. And this is another one of those key matchups. Charlotte's rushing attack and Navy's defense. We're going to kind of flip-flop it a little bit. Charlotte ran for over 300 yards over ECU last week, 55-24 in their win. And Navy has grown accustomed to stopping the run, having recently beaten Air Force and didn't give up many yards there. As far as players for folks to watch for Charlotte, quarterback Max Brown, he could return after a thumb injury, but Deshaun Purdy and Trexler Ivy may also play for Charlotte. And then for Navy, quarterback Blake Horvath has 10 rushing touchdowns. What is the deal with these military guys having all these rushing touchdowns? Are they just built different?
That's the lay of the game there in these these service academy. It's like those quarterbacks.
You just got a bunch of Tebows.
Those quarterbacks. It's all Tebows.
Could you imagine the stats Tebow would have put up if he played for one of these guys?
Could you imagine the country if Tebow was playing for Army?
You know what? That would be a great what-if series if Tebow played for a military team.
We might be just in a perfect state at that time. That could have made America great again if Tebow played for Army.
Right, and not for Urban Meyer.
Right.
Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
A couple cool facts for you, Reid. Navy won the only previous meeting, 14-0 back in 2023 last year. Charlotte's Purdy has thrown for 700 yards and 4 touchdowns since taking over for Brown. And Navy has scored 218 points in 5 games, surpassing their total points scored last season.
Congrats to them.
But I'm sure the folks at home, and maybe you, Reid, are also wondering, why do these two teams matter? Aside from them, being ranked in the top 25 right now, the American teams, you got service members in here, so you always want to make sure we're supporting them year in and year out. But what does it all mean? This is the first time in modern internet history that Army and Navy have been this good at the same time. Last time both started 5-0, Reid, was 1945.
Damn.
Back then, the fans, they definitely would have heard about it on the radio versus this audio medium. So in 1945, of course, Army had one of the best seasons ever, going undefeated. Navy only lost once, was to Army. They finished 1-2 in the polls. Over the years, Army and Navy fell behind as football modernized and societal changes reduced the appeal of service academies for athletes, which is no surprise because this is a topic that me and you've always discussed. We always tout that the American military force has some of the cream of the crop when it comes to athletic and just in shape individuals. So it's how are they able to compete with a lot of these other schools? And it really comes down to they face a lot more challenges. They have a lot more strict rules. They have those military commitments tied to it. There's no NIL deals for athletes and no real access to the transfer portal. So I think that's one of a few real big negative knocks to these institutions trying to gain some commitments from recruits.
I fully see that, and I never thought about it that way, where NIL isn't really going to apply. It's kind of like it's Army Navy kind of is like on the outside border of all of this, and is able to just kind of handle on its own and stick with tradition and stick with its commits and its actual commitment. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And of course, Army and Navy both face Notre Dame in non-conference games, which could challenge their undefeated records, but a win over Notre Dame could also boost their playoff chances. Because, Reid, we talked about this briefly yesterday when we were recording the latest Ricks versus Gricks episode, when everyone else jumped off and they left us to our own devices, that the conference championship game for the AAC is the week before the Army Navy exhibition game that happens every year. So there is a world where these two teams face off each other for the championship for their conference, a potential bid into the college football playoff, and then they play each other the very following week. So I'm very interested to see what happens if one team wins the conference championship and the other one wins the exhibition, and what the hell the playoff committee does with that. Could you see both teams just going in, say, fuck it, just do that, instead of, I'd rather see these two teams than two additional SEC teams.
I said it
just to shake it up.
I said it last night. If they know what's good for them, you're gonna say thank you for your service and put them both in the playoff.
Right, the very first expanded playoff,
and then you dare one of those elite teams to beat their ass. Dare them to do it, and look at how they're gonna look. It's gonna turn Georgia. Watch your ass, Georgia. Don't you put 48 points on Army.
Listen, they already have enough issues in Georgia for players just driving cars. We don't need them on a no-fly list because they definitely can't get anywhere. Speaking about no-fly list, the Ohio Trash Bowl is this weekend for the Lame of the Week. It's Kent State, who's 0-6, and Bowling Green 2-4.
Yeah.
Don't even waste your time. Fuck Ohio. We all know how I feel about Ohio. But, Reid, we all know how I feel about this thing.
The wheel.
It's the wheel. The Wheel of Degenerates, folks. That's right. The greatest thing to just grace the presence on the internet. We do it better than Barstool. The production value is so much higher than Barstool could ever imagine. So fuck you, Dave Portnoy, again. That's right, folks. Wheel of Degenerate. We're going to spin the wheel 5 times. See what we're going to do for a 5-pick parlay. Like we said last week, we did not hit anything. Reid, as this is spinning for the first game, I'm going to start rattling off a couple games after it selects the first one. Oh, and I think the Fates want me to do it again. No, they don't.
They were close.
I thought I was going to land on the Michigan game again, but nope. It's landing. First game is UCF at number 9 Iowa State. That team has come completely out of nowhere this season, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Them playing at home. A couple other games that are going to be going on this week, featuring a top 25 team. Number 6 Miami at Louisville. That should be great. UVA at number 10 Clemson. Nebraska at 16 Indiana. Auburn at 19 Missouri. East Carolina, like we mentioned, at number 23 Army. Number 7 Alabama at 11 Tennessee. 12 Notre Dame at Georgia Tech. 24 Michigan at number... I guess I just did a typo because I don't know. I know it's 20-something, but I know it's Illinois, so I guess I don't really care that much. Other game of the week, Charlotte at number 25 Navy. Number 14, Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Number 8, LSU at Arkansas. The ESPN College Game Day game of the week, number 5, Georgia at Texas. Did you see that they're not having UGA go to the game? They don't want another repeat of last year.
I don't blame them. Don't blame them. Leave that
Bad
dog alone.
dog.
Yeah.
Bad dog. That dog deserves it. Oh, and then also to round it out, number 17, Kansas State at West Virginia, and number 21, SMU at Stanford. But the second game up is that Auburn at number 19 Missouri. That number 19 Missouri team, Reid, I want to get your thoughts. They're looking like frauds. I don't think they're going to escape this game with a win, and I could see them dropping at that top 25 this week.
I see that happening too. I haven't liked what I've seen from the start. Oh, and look at that. Look who pops up.
Third week in a row, folks. We have the College Shame Day game of the week up here. The Charlotte 49ers at the number 25 Navy Midshipmen. And we can't bet against the military, right?
No, how dare you? Don't you dare.
I mean, I know I typically don't give away who I'm picking on these games, but I think it's kind of a safe bet to not pick against the military. But the number 21 SMU Mustangs traveling to Stanford, I don't even know. That's another one of those crapshoot games coming up for the 4th pick on the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip.
still thinking about if Tebow played for Army.
Jesus. Do you think he'd be an Army guy, though? I could think he'd be like a VMI guy.
Yeah, I could see VMI, but I feel like
the Citadel.
I don't know. Like, Tebow seems like he reminds me a lot of like Steve Rogers, Captain America. Like, he's just gonna like they're gonna put him on a show.
I love it. You know what? I'd be all for it. That would be a great thing to kind of talk about kind of more in length. In this game, rounding out the 5th and final pick for the Wheel of Degenerates betting slip, the number 17 Kansas State Wildcats at West Virginia. Reid, I don't know about these games, man. Auburn at Missouri, they look like frauds. Charlotte at Navy, go Navy. UCF at number 9 Iowa State, Kansas State at West Virginia, and SMU at Stanford. Maybe, Reid, I was thinking about something earlier today. I know we tell the folks we always do it's a 5-pick parlay, but I'm going to leave it up to you. I think we should shake it up this week. What do you say we go for 6?
Let's go for 6. I was gonna say with the normal 5, I think we could finally hit it. The 6th one's gonna fuck it up. Watch.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. No. Well, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I can't go back now because now the sixth and final game for this betting slip.
That's what happens. That's what you get.
Is number 24 Michigan at number 22 Illinois. God damn it, Dave Portnoy.
He did it to you. Now, I mean, you know, because of who it is, you know who to go against.
I played myself.
Yeah.
I played myself. But like I said, we've been on the fringe week in and week out about trying to hit one of these parlays. Last week was just so bad. I'm looking for every little possible thing that I can do to try to get some money won, not only for us here at 323 and College Shame Day, but also for the fans at home. I went through the wardrobe change. We changed up the recording time. One thing that didn't change was Florida State lost again, so congratulations there. But we're going to see, maybe if we make it an even number of games, we can win this week, Reid.
I think we can. I think this is the best chance that we've had with this slate of games, unless everything just goes completely wonky, which it hasn't yet. Everything's been kind of like straightforward here in the football week to start, so yeah, I think we got it this week. I really do. I have confidence. I wore this shirt from confidence.
You know what? And confidence is key in this world. That's something that one very smart man told me years and years ago. And if confidence is key, following the 323 College Shame Day Instagram page is also key, especially if you want your chance to win that monthly giveaway for a $25 Fanatics gift card. Reid, the winner last week, he actually sent me a picture of what he purchased. He already told me that it was going to be Dallas Cowboys swag, but he bought it for his newborn child, and it's like a little comfy, fleecy little Cowboys onesie. So I guess he won me over on the cuteness factor. But you folks, no, we don't do it again. We're not having that Cowboy shenanigans here. Make sure to go follow the College Shame Day Instagram page at 323 College Shame Day for your chance to win. Oh yeah, and if you want extra chances, all you got to do is just double click those posts every single time you see him. Comment, share your post as well. Tell Reid how good he looks in his collared shirt, because there's a couple other places where you can find Reid at 323 Reid on Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and also YouTube. And that's where I would go to see this tall drink of water.
Yes, absolutely. Go to the 323 Network on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Check us out. Let us know how fictional fantasy football characters are doing for us and how that went. And you're going to want to be subscribed. Halloween's coming. Spooky season's coming. We'll have a Halloween show coming up. It's going to be very fun. Spooky. Pumpkin.
My favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the... Yeah, well, at least you're more festive than I am. I don't have anything spooky up except for, I guess, me.
Got the boo basket out here.
You got the what?
Whoa, it's 2 of them out here.
Whoa. All right, folks. You guys go off and enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning. Get the crock pot going because the fall weather is finally here, and I am so excited. My white ass is my favorite time of year. Until next time, embrace the shame, and thank you again for listening to the 323 Network.
Chili on Sundays.